Welcome to this episode of Estate Agency X. Today I'm talking to Josh Rayner. If anyone has been living under a stone for the last 20 years and doesn't know who Josh is the king of recruitment in estate agency. Anything that you can think of around that whole sector, Josh knows it. So today we talk about how things have changed over the last 20 years, how technology is helping people find the right candidates, and what employers should and shouldn't be doing to make sure that they can attract and retain their best people.
Estate Agency X, the UK's #1 estate agency podcast discussing the future of estate agency, entrepreneurship and business, with hosts Mark Burgess and Rob Brady.
Right, Josh, thanks for coming in. For anyone who, for some reason, hasn't come across you in the past, can you just give us a quick background on yourself? How long you've been in the industry, what you do, all of that sort of stuff, please.
Absolutely. Mark, first of all, thanks for having me. Real privilege to be here. So Josh Rayner, been in the industry for 21 years this year, so definitely an uphill paper round. Purely in recruitment is all I've ever done since leaving school. So I've placed over 5,000 people from junior negs up to CEOs, and Rayner Personnel was my core business. We've got 24 franchisees up and down the country that look after sales, lettings, land new homes, financial services and prop tech. And I've recently just formed a business called Inside Talent, which is an AI recruitment platform to assist with the more junior roles.
Awesome. Okay, so I want to try to dig into a lot of your knowledge about recruitment, because obviously working with massive brands, working with some of the smaller brands, all the different roles, all the things you've seen go well, all the things you've seen go bad, hopefully we can unpack some stuff for people that's of real use to them. In a previous life, I did recruitment back in the late 90s. And at the time, it was like a .com, and you just sort of, people were hiring just anyone they could sort of get their hands on. And so I guess, if I think about when I moved into a estate agency, at the time, Spicer, well, they're Spicer Heart now, Spicer McCall, were going through a big expansion, and I feel like they was just trying to get bodies on seats at the time. So do you, over the years, have you seen much of a shift from just get me somebody to, I don't know, something based more around not just experience, but how are companies now trying to make sure that they find people that actually fit within their organisation?
Yeah, definitely. The market's hugely changed, and I remember them Spice McColl days. And sometimes they haven't changed in some businesses, but culture for me is the big word. People don't just take a job because they need to. We all know that the industry doesn't pay a particularly high basic salary. I think we pay £685 more than minimum wage as a basic. So we're not an industry people join for a basic salary. It's very much a career industry. And culture for me is a massive one. We can change lives by putting people into the right jobs, but we also can break lives by putting in the wrong culture and they don't work out. So for me, it's about companies that really embrace the individual and give them that freedom and flexibility. I think them days, of course, KPIs still exist, but then days of you've got to have 10 calls before 10 and you've got to hit the phone 100 times a day, phone bashing, they don't really exist as much anymore.
Right.
And if you even looked at the Foxtons culture, which is arguably a machine and one of the best cultures out there, they're even flexing a little bit since COVID with a little bit more hybrid working, or they're changing their KPI. So again, that phone basher, bum on a seat is a bit more advanced than it ever has been.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I've not really seen much other than the self-employed model of the hybrid working. So what are you seeing with that?
So again, it's horses for courses and different companies are doing different things, but it might be there's a little bit more flexibility. So for example, property management and sales progressors, they're doing 3 days in the office and 2 days from home.
Nice.
They don't need to be in the office. They can get more stuff done. That role is quite intense and there's a lot of phone calls. Sometimes they get distracted in the office and they don't really need to be there physically. Yeah. So we're seeing them roles be a little bit more hybrid. You've obviously seen the rise of Uber. So again, completely self-employed, people that go out and turn the key and show properties to the clients. Obviously, your negotiators and your valuers there obviously need to be out and about more times, or negs in the office, but valuers are winning the sofa. So there's a lot more flexibility rather than you've got to do 5 hours a day in the office. There's a lot more fluid.
And how does a recruitment company try to get to understand that culture then? If you're, I don't know, you work with all levels of estate agencies, right?
Yeah.
Small independents right through to
Savills,
yeah, right. So, how if I'm a small independent? I mean, first of all, do you meet lots of companies that don't have a culture and aren't able to explain that side of things to you?
Yeah.
And the second part of the question is, if they have got it, how do you try to make sure that you find matches for it?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's lots of businesses that are partner owned, if that makes sense. There's two people in their business, they're equal partners, and they tell me they've got great values. They've got a really winning culture, but then you question that and you deep dive into that, and it's just wallpaper. We look after our customers, great. Everyone else does. We look after our people, great. Everybody else does, right?
Yeah.
Elaborate a little bit more. What's that
as
look
opposed
like?
to what? We're not looking after your fucking people.
Exactly. Exactly that. So there's a lot of people that have got a lot of BS that pretend they've got a culture and they haven't. So every time we take a job, we do a job discovery with that client to understand exactly what their USPs are, why they're different, why they could attract good people. And ultimately, we're looking for companies that people can build a career with. Because if you ask people what's important to them, of course, money comes up there because we need to eat and live. But the second bit is about progression. So again, if this person joined you as a sales or lettings neg, in the next 5 years, where could they progress to? And if it's still going to be a sales or lettings neg in 5 years' time, clearly they're not a company that we want to help, because the people we put in will just be giving our money back as a rebate because they won't stay. So it's identifying the right company, understanding the business owners, if it's a small business, or if it's a PLC, understanding what their global culture is to really understand the kind of person that will fit within that business.
And as a recruiter, like being on the employer side, you can imagine, like, you just think of it all from your own point of view, don't you? Like, I want to find somebody who's really good. I don't want to pay, loads of money for it, and blah, 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 blah. You just think of all of that side of things. But I'm just trying to imagine it from a recruiter's point of view. What frustrates you about employers? Where do they mess it up?
I think a lot of people, when you're hiring, it doesn't matter what business you're in, you only hire when you've got a vacancy, right? So we desperate hire. And that tends to be someone's walked out, someone's gone on maternity leave, there's been a change in circumstances, you overrun with the phones and you need to get somebody else involved. And you've really got a 2 to 3 week window to really find somebody. And it's like going shopping when you're hungry, right? You go to Tesco's, you chuck all the rubbish in your basket, and you get to the end, you go, actually, I can't even cook a meal out of this. So you buy the wrong things, and I think you hire the wrong people when you're in a desperate hurry. So that really annoys me when you actually took the time and future plan what you're going to do. I appreciate you can't work out in December I'm going to need 4 people, in August I'm going to need 1 or 2, but
we all know the time of hiring.
Yeah,
right? Better to have a hole than an arsehole.
Exactly that. And we always need a subbench of people, and because we never have that or never speak to people, it's always right, we need somebody now, let's get cracking. So that really frustrates a recruiter. Because we all know that you can have churn. We have a 48% attrition rate in our industry. That means you're always going to need people every single year.
Yeah.
And what also frustrates me is that agents are very good estate agents. They can write great job descriptions. Sorry, not job descriptions, great property descriptions. They can't write great job descriptions, right? Yeah. That's why we're professional in the job market, and they're professionals in estate agency and lettings. So again, giving it to somebody that understands the industry, 21 years of knowledge, black book, contacts, market share analysis, that's a value. Just like why wouldn't consumers sell their own houses? Well, I'm not going to sell my own house because that's not my expertise.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's interesting. So if you think about like big corporations, global corporations, they have like, permanent HR departments that are staffed to the nines with it. Like, they're pretty much always thinking about recruitment, right? Because of what you just said, like there's always going to be an attrition in your company. Whereas what you're saying there, I guess, is like, smaller businesses, like they're waiting to have an actual bullet hole shot in them before they're trying to figure out, like, how to solve it. So, but how can they start to think about that, solving that problem if they haven't actually got a vacancy, then how can they start to solve it?
It's mapping out exactly what the fundamental parts of that business is. We all know you need to list houses, right? Because if you haven't got stock, you're not going to be able to sell anything. Same with lettings. You also need people that are going to be able to register applicants. There's lots of AI stuff that can do lots of that, and I've seen lots of technology, including what the amazing stuff you're doing. But AI is not caught up yet. You're not going to win the sofa on a listing yet. So think around the core people you need in your business to function. And I appreciate that times have been difficult in the last 5-10 years, but you're still going to need a valuer. You're still going to need a really good sales or lettings neg. yes, AI is kicking in, so you won't necessarily need the £5 jobs and the admin jobs as much anymore. Hopefully the AI stuff will catch up, but you're going to need really quality experienced people. And looking on a blank piece of paper, what do we need to be the best operation locally, and how are we going to win against our competitors? And it's just working out what you need and taking a view that, look, you're not going to keep everybody. You might be the best employer ever, but you'll have superstars in there that, guess what? They want to leave. They want to set their own businesses. You might have people that unfortunately have a death in the family, have to move far and wide to go and look after them. So you can't predict the future. So that I would work out exactly the core jobs you need in the roles you need to be looked after in your business, and make sure you've got a bit of a plan going forward in the future around, right, if Mark doesn't work out in the next 12 months, where am I going to get another superstar from? What does that look like? Interview people, even if you haven't got a job, because you're always looking to expand. I always was told a company that's never recruiting is a company that's never growing.
Yeah.
And I totally believe in that, because if you're not forward thinking, you're not going forward, you're going backwards.
And how do you see the best companies cope with that from a cash flow perspective? You know, like, I don't know, a hire might cost them whatever it is, thousands of pounds in recruitment fees. Obviously, you know, I'm sure you can tell us, like, you know, why that's good value for money. But nevertheless, like, if they hadn't planned for it, then I guess, like, it all starts to get a bit difficult for them.
And especially when things have been tight, right? And cash is king. We all know that. So you can never plan for it, let's be honest. You can make an idea of when you're going to take somebody, but you don't know if that's going to be today, tomorrow, next month. But you can put a bit of money aside and go, do you know what? Actually, recruitment is that whole time versus money. I can go and do it myself, but one, I'm not an expert in that field. Two, it takes about 30 to 40 hours to find your hire yourself. What can you do that's more valuable in 30 to 40 houses? List in 30 to 40 hours. List more houses, sell more houses, generate more income in your business that you're good at. So it's that kind of, I'd rather give it to an expert that knows industry than go out and headhunt people. That's not my sector or my expertise, and pay for that service, knowing that I put a bit aside every single month to make sure that if I do have a casualty, which I know I'm going to have, I've got enough money in the coffers to be able to afford that. And I've got an expert that knows it. Lots of people have got internal recruitment teams as well. And estate agency recruitment, I reckon, is one of the hardest recruitment sectors to get into. There's lots of churn. It's unregulated. You deal with everybody from a junior up to a CEO and everybody in between. It's hard. And I think lots of internal recruitment teams are not even experienced in property. They've come from a different sector, whether that be retail. I just don't get the sector. And I haven't got the contacts to go after, or the data, or the tech to be able to reach people as well.
You do find that a lot in this sector, actually, don't you? You know, like, 20 odd years, you say you've been in it, in this, and similar for myself, maybe even a little bit longer. And you see people come with ideas from other sectors, and it's like they're an alien. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I saw an advert the other day on Facebook for something to do with trying to win listings in a estate agency, and it was clearly some company that have never had anything to do with estate agencies. It was just like, this ad is just never going to land with anybody, because I don't even understand the words that you're using. Do you know what I mean? So you must have seen a lot of change with technology then, I guess, over that period of time as well, going from, in the book that I just wrote about AI, I actually referenced recruitment, where there was a point in time whereby people had to go through paper CVs, like if you get 40 applications, you've got to go through 40 paper CVs. So talk to me a little bit about how, like, the technology side of things is helping you and helping the end clients on recruitment.
Definitely. And the CVs haven't gone away, unfortunately, at this moment in time. So I'm not old enough to see a fax machine, but I used to send over loads of CVs. And I'm guessing now people are still taking the free job on Indeed, and they're sifting for on average about 70 candidates. Our government decided to pay people the job seekers allowance if they just click for jobs. So clearly you get lots and lots of time wasters that just click for jobs just so they can get their dole money every single week. So that's frustrating. But technology is definitely improved. LinkedIn for me is our biggest cost, but our biggest asset. So we're a super user of LinkedIn. That allows us to look at market share, data, years of experience, and really hone down and screen candidates correctly. We're using lots more video. So again, I remember when I sent people out at a very young age where they turned up, bright blue hair, tribal tattooed on their chin, and the client goes, "Josh, have you met them yet?" And I had to say no, because obviously my time was better spent on the phone. But they open up the door, they've got to give that person an hour. They live local, they could be a potential client in the future. And they go, "Josh, what have you done to me? I can't get that hour back." So we video every single candidate on Rayner personnel before we send them forward. You can get a good understanding of their body language, etc. And where AI is now catching is that actually I don't need to be videoing them personally because I need to sleep. And actually AI can do you can use Synthesia and other pieces of technology to be able to physically screen in people with an AI avatar. So again, being a bit more flexible to the candidate, they can interview at 10 o'clock at night, 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever suits them. But also we've got lots of tech like psychometric profiles and DISC profiles to understand, are they a big red? Are they going to clash with another big titan in that business? Or are they more introverted? Are they going to be more suited to a different role in the business? So I think you've got a lot more data intelligence to be able to map out talent. And that's never existed before.
And do you have the same thing for the employer, like whereby they can go through anything like that in order to help identify whether they need whether they need a red or whether they need an introvert?
Absolutely. So every time we take a role on Inside Talent, we profile the job. So it's not the person hiring, because clearly they're probably always going to be red.
Yeah.
But it's going, right, I need a lettings negotiator. Let's profile your top lettings neg or your manager, whoever it may be, and let's match up the candidates we get in to make sure they're a psychometric match to them. Again, culture-wise, there's no point. You might see somebody, and I think the old days of hire, we've all done it, where you go, do you know what, Josh, you remind me of me when I was 21, yeah? You look the part, you've got the gift of the gab, you'll be a great estate agent. And they get in, they were born in a whole different generation. They had mobile phones, they've got the internet, they've got social media. And because they look a little bit like you, or because you like them for whatever reason, you hire them. And then after 3 months, you go, actually, this person does want to get out of bed and get to the office at 8:30 for a morning meeting.
They are like you.
Exactly, Mark, exactly. So you can DISC profile every single job and then match them up to the candidates. Absolutely,
love it. Okay, and you've got a new take on recruitment, right?
Yeah.
How does that work?
So Inside Talent we launched 8 weeks ago. Been a great success so far. I saw a massive niche in the market. Like you said before, recruitment is expensive, right? Especially when you get it wrong, and especially when there's a recruitment fee attached to it. And after doing about 18 months of experimenting and speaking to clients and sitting in boardrooms, the need for a recruitment solution that actually helped agents at a lower cost. So it's a full scale model for the industry. I saw had legs. So the AI platform allows you basically to advertise a job in 3 clicks across every single job board in the UK, as well as your social media platform. But it saves you hours and hours screening candidates. So AI basically screens every candidate. So psychometric, literacy, numeracy, and a video interview. AI then scores that out of 5 stars and puts that straight to your inbox. So like I said, if there was 70 CVs coming in, you still got to sift through 70 CVs, whereas we would do that for you, and the technology might give you 7 to look at. But then 7 have been benchmarked against all the top people in your business. It's gone out to hundreds of thousands of job seekers, rather than just a recruiter email it out to their 5 mates and going, fancy this job, which is what they do. And then allowing that to come straight into your dashboard, completely white labeled, and it interacts with Google and Microsoft. So you can book in people straight to your diary rather than ringing up Josh and saying, Josh, can I see Mark next week? It's all done seamlessly.
That's awesome. So, I'm guessing you need to be doing a reasonable amount of recruitment, like for that model to work for you as well as for the person on the other end, or like how does it if I'm a one branch agent and I might hire 2 people a year. How does it work?
So it's built for the smaller businesses as well as the bigger ones, right? So there's a package for everybody out there, and we charge £250 a month to use the technology, and you can have up to 3 hires per year. So effectively, it's £1,000 a hire compared to £5,000, which is my average fee.
Yeah,
it's additional.
It's crazy. So if I'm paying, I can pay £250 a month, and I can basically have this recruitment module that works for me, whereby like, does it help me write? Does it help me write job ads? Or?
Yeah, it does everything for you. So when I said the 3 clicks, it writes a JD for you that's all done by AI. So there's no issues around bias. There's no issues around discrimination. It's written by an AI bot. We also give you a careers page as well, white label career page, which again attracts people to your business, where you can sell your culture, right? Because you might have the best culture in the world, but if no one knows about it and you kept it in a real secret box in your office, no one's going to know that. So it's a place where you can actually show your employer of choice and why people should join your business, and make it a really seamless process as well. Because again, when you might be advertising on LinkedIn or a job board, it's not intimate at all. We've got this vacancy, apply, we might get back to you. And 9 times out of 10, most people don't bother. Whereas every application will get a yes or a no, and the reasons why. The job description written for you. It goes across every single job board, like I said, in social media. Whereas even in our business, we go out to a particular niche of people that might have that particular job title, and that's it. And then we go out and headhunt. So this is definitely a scalable option, but it suits a 0 to 10 office independent as well as a big national, which is obviously we spoke about offline. There's lots of companies that are interested in different parts of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so once I get that person in, what's the process after that? So I go through, I post my jobs. AI's helped me to identify what's so special about my company, write the right job description. It's helped me to limit down all the candidates that I got sent, and I've narrowed it down to 5, and I've met them, and I've gone with one of them. And then I guess it's no. I guess you don't have to worry anymore about like how do I get my feedback, because you're just paying a monthly subscription for the platform, right?
Get a monthly, yeah, you're paying your monthly fees, but also the bit of kit allows you to job offer. So you can job offer via the system as well and send out your contract. We also do a 360 reference check. So right to work, DBS and free professional references. Again, talks to another HR provider you're using. So whether that's Sage or Breathe or whatever it may be. But also we've got some bolt-ons. So we pride ourselves on recruit, train and retain. So if you go for the gold package, we can do all your training as well. So you put people, every new recruit, we put them through a Property Mark level 3 qualification or training course to get them qualified. But also we've linked in things like Perkbox. So it gives them 9,000 different perks and benefits, a free mental health support line, and loads of other bits and pieces to try and keep people. Because I think half the battle is finding great people, but the other half of the battle, but nobody talks around, which is a secret that everyone knows, but that doesn't really talk about, which is how do you keep great people? Because you can have the best culture in the world, but if they don't feel happy in their job, or they don't feel that they've been recognised for a great performance, and that might be just saying well done and people going, oh, I can see that Mark's give Josh a clap or that kind of stuff, or people don't want to get pissed down the pub every Friday anymore. Yeah, they've got kids. It's not fashionable to drink as much as it used to be, although I love a beer. So people want to be looked after in different ways. So this platform allows you to congratulate people, shout people out, but also give them rewards that they want to spend on. They might want to take their kids away. They might want to buy an Amazon Fire Stick. Let them do what they want to do because they just want to keep them happy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So on that note, then, like, what over the years, actually, has it changed much? I was going to ask you over the years, like, what are the main reasons that people come back to you and go, "You got to get me out of this place," and that's one of the questions. And then my next question is like, and has that changed much over the years?
No. So people don't leave bad jobs; they leave bad managers. You've heard that. I'm sure you've heard that saying before. And then bad managers in the industry, we promote people, I think, the wrong way, which is you start as a junior neg, you go up to a senior neg valuer, you go up to a manager, and then we make you a regional manager. That was always the way before self-employed come out. And the best valuers don't necessarily make the best managers. They don't really want to be a manager. They just want to earn more money. And that's a necessary evil, I suppose, to get that. They're really good at listing houses. But to get to the next pay run, they have to then move up to an area or a manager role. So I think, unfortunately, we've promoted people that shouldn't really be managers or should be put for a management course to be able to lead properly. So I think people leave bad managers, not bad jobs. And I think as the industry grows, back when we first started, you worked for a corporate, you got on really well, you'd done all your training, then you set up on your own. You had a bricks and mortar office. You paid the right move fees. They weren't as high as they are now, and you went alone. Now people are going, do you know what? The fees are really high. To have an office on the high street is really expensive. Let's look at an EXP or a Yopa model or something different to make sure we can launch. So I think them models have replaced people going on their own because it's just more expensive.
Yeah. So what is the right path then? Because, we spoke about it before. We said, like, in an ideal world, you want to place people in a job whereby they've got a bit of career ambition and they can sort of see the path forward.
Yeah.
But if the path forward is not necessarily to go from neg to valuer to manager to what is maybe a path that someone could get excited about if we're not going to promise them that they're going to become a manager, for instance?
I think it's down to the individual, right? And it's down to just being honest and truthful. I think a lot of our industry is full of lot of bollocks, excuse my French, and people promising the earth and not delivering. So I think it's understanding, right, why do you want a job here? What can you offer? And being honest with people. And it might be, I just want to be a lister, because most listers, if you're really good, can earn more money than your managers anyway.
Yeah.
If they're just looking after the listings, they can earn more money. So I think it's understanding where they want to get to, where you're going as a business. And I suppose as an entrepreneur and a business owner, you've got to sell the vision of where you're taking that business. And is that more offices? Is that future progression? Or is that actually, we just want to make this £1 million office, a £2 million office, a £3 million office, And as you go forward, guess what? We're going to spend more money on marketing. You'll get called out on more listings. You'll earn more commission. So I think it's understanding and storytelling to a certain degree. And Chris Watkins talks about storytelling all the time, which is, where is this business going and what is going to be my role within this business going forward?
Yeah.
And if they can't believe that, then they're not going to join and they're not going to stay.
And I guess a lot of that comes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. Like, company says, oh, we've got a great culture, we've got values, we've got this, and it turns out that it's just nothing. There's nothing there. And maybe there's no plan either. Like, maybe there is no roadmap. Maybe they don't know what they're hiring for. They're hiring because, I don't know, there was someone here answering the phones and now they've left. Like, doesn't sound like a great job, does it?
not one that I'd apply for.
Yeah. What about, like, different, you hear a lot of stuff about, like, the traits of different generations.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's a thing, or do you think that that's just like bollocks?
I think there's a little bit of truth in it, but I think just the way we are as human beings now, we want things instantly, right? You want a pizza, you go and deliver it, it's in your house within 10, 15 minutes, and you want things and it's a lot quicker. And I think that's what the younger generation want, because they're used to buying things on demand, right? And they want that promotion very, very quickly. We've got this whole debate around the employee rights bill coming in, which is going to give people the same amount of rights as someone with 2 years experience.
After how long?
After what, sorry?
Straight away.
So right. Immediately. So that's coming down the track this year, and the rest of it's coming out next year in 2027. So that's going to be massive, because before, when you could take a bit of a punt on somebody and go, do you know what? I liked how Mark answered them questions. There's a few things I didn't like, but I've got a probation period of 6 months, so I can put him through his paces. That's going to go, right? So that person you hire, if they don't work out in the same afternoon you hired them, you're going to have to put them through a 3 months management program to get rid of them.
Yeah.
So 3 months of salary, 3 months of NI, 3 months of pension contribution, that company car, whatever it may be. So you've got to be careful who you hire, but digressing a little bit. So I think, people want things a lot quicker. I think there's been a stigma around the younger generation. They just want beanbag days every day, and they want to lay in. I think after COVID, there was a change for people really wanting to work from home. But as you can see from the big businesses, they're getting people back into offices, and people actually we're humans, right? We like to be around people. So I think a lot of businesses are bringing people back, and people have accepted that with open arms, because from a mental health perspective, more importantly, we're a social race of people. We need to be around people all the time. But I do think the younger people think they're owed something. And I lied to get a paper round when I was 12, when you had to be 13. I washed dishes when I was a kid, and I really liked money, and I liked earning my stripes. And I think sometimes in this day and age, people don't probably see that as, I just expect that I'm going to get a monthly allowance from mum and dad, and I'm going to get a promotion after 12 months. And I think we did a bit of a case study in Rayner personnel, where if people age under 25, if they don't get a promotion or any kind of recognition after 12 months, it's acceptable to a tap on the back, and they would look at an opportunity thereafter. So I think we've got to look at how we manage younger people and engage them, ask them what they want, get feedback, because if people are just doing the same stuff they did 20 years ago, nothing's going to change, and you're going to lose good people. When actually, if it was just to put your arm around Mark, what can I do to really help you grow your career? It might be the simplest things that you can just tweak. It might not necessarily be money. It doesn't have to be a promotion. It could be something just in the office.
Yeah, it could just be some form of education to moving forward, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Like some course or something, so they felt like they was gaining something. When you see that younger generation maybe coming into the industry, maybe this is just because we're old now, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking back again to, like, Spicer McCall days, before it was Spicer Hart. Like, people were joining and leaving every day. Do you know what I mean? Like, because part of me wonders whether, when people say, oh, young people, they don't want to do anything, and this generation, I sort of think back and think, but does any young generation want to do anything? I mean, we're all like getting drunk, getting stoned, and like just turn up to work half cut, aren't we? I mean, wasn't that every generation when you were young? And then you grow up a little bit.
Yep.
Like, millennials have sort of matured a bit now, haven't they?
Yep.
And now they're like a bit more responsible. They've got kids, and so I just wonder if it's just, that's what happens with young people. When you're seeing, like you say, from your survey, after 12 months, if they hadn't had a promotion, they want to leave. Are they leaving the industry, or can they go and get another job?
So they can definitely stay with the industry if they're really good. What I mean by that is, if they don't get any recognition within 12 months, that doesn't have to be a promotion, but any kind of, well done, this is the target, this is where you're going, this is where we're taking you, this is what we're going to invest in you, whether that be a course like you said, whether that be we're going to take you to a leadership summit where you can learn from some other people. They just need some encouragement. If they don't get that in 12 months, they're off. And some of them stay within the industry, but we're losing probably about 15% of our industry every single year.
Where do they go?
And it's just different sectors. So lots of people are going abroad, and they're going to Dubai and they live their high life, especially the young, and they've got the bank of mum and dad behind them. but we're also losing people to tech because as a global thing, we're obviously all around tech enhancements, and we're losing people to other customer service, hospitality, retail industries that actually are paid better as a basic salary, and it's less stress as well.
Yeah. Do you think, like, I don't know, is there any not newer, but like, when you think about estate agents, when I think about estate agency, again, maybe it's just because I'm old, I think about working 5.5 or 6 days a week for a low basic salary, reasonable commission, but not earth shattering. But it's fun. It's quite a fun job. In the sense that, like you say, you get to deal with a lot of different people. You see a lot of different situations. You get to help some people find some houses. But are there any models that you sort of look at now, employed, and think that's brilliant? Like they've reimagined the way like that job works, or is it still pretty much how I imagine it?
Again, I think it has changed slightly. I think the roles have slightly changed as well. So lots of companies are looking at the self-employed model going, right, dealing with one person all the way through, from listing your property all the way through to completing. That's quite cool because you've got somebody who's going to look after you, hold your hand the whole way through. So some people that are running employed businesses have kind of cotton onto that a little bit, and they're saying, right, just deal with Josh all the way through the process. That's good, but then Josh decides to go on holiday, right?
or has too many houses to deal with.
And then it all collapses. So I think some companies, forward-thinking companies, have broken down the roles a bit more, being more customer sort of hold handing, or you're just going to win the business. But in the main, nothing's really changed too much.
So there's no you've just told me the answer, but I'm just thinking out loud. I was just wondering whether there was someone out there who's doing this like crazy model where it's like literally like they work in, I don't know. You said there's some people that work from home, but it seems like they're more administrational or, like you say, sales progressing, that sort of stuff. Like, I was wondering whether there was anyone that done anything a bit crazy on that side of things. People always get surprised at when I interview someone at our company and I sort of say to them, like, you get unlimited paid holiday. I don't give a shit whether you go to the gym in the morning, whether you walk the dog. I'm only interested in outcomes. I don't care about the output.
Yeah.
I just wondered whether there was many.
Netflix hasn't hit the property industry there.
All right, maybe we should open one.
Maybe we should open a business like that. But I think at the moment, the only way you're going to get a pure flexibility is being self-employed, right? And unfortunately, what you put into this business, you get out. And I think the more canvassing you do, the more marketing you do, clearly the more instructions you get, the more properties you sell. And them KPIs haven't really changed a lot. And therefore, if we're an employed model, that's what you're expected to do. There's lots of things around. You can have unlimited holiday, of course, but clearly then people are not making their money. Their jobs are going to be axed if they're not going to produce. So there's a bit of a front there where, Netflix hasn't hit a business yet over here.
And the self-employed, the agents that are hiring people that want to be self-employed, that's still the same. You still find those people, they're candidates, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So we support all the big companies that me and you know, and there's different models, and people buy. What I'm seeing now is people are choosing their model based on culture, not just the split. Because before, when the self-employed market emerged, it was all about who's going to pay me more. If I'm the best agent in Billericay, I want to join the best company that can give me the best split. And actually now it's more around what kind of marketing support do I get? Do they help me with any instructions? What's the culture like in that business? Can I have my name on the board as well as theirs? There's so many more things that make up that decision. Whereas before, when it first emerged, it was right, I want 80, 90% of the split. Now it's actually, I'll take 70 or 60 if they're going to fill my diary of appointments, or if they're going to help me learn and progress.
Yeah. And like you say, because some people they want their own brand, and some people want support from a brand. So it's like very different. That's completely different.
A national brand, say Yopa, for example, quality national brand, and then you've got an EXP with your name above the door, powered by EXP. So, and some people want their name on the board, right? That's a massive ego thing for them. That's fine. I think it's probably more vanity than sanity. But if they're a well-known networked agent, that is important, right? Because people know them and they're up the school gates and they're at the hockey club and the rugby club and etc. So that is important. So I get the value of it. Bearing in mind, one of my businesses is called after my surname. I can't say that, but there's definitely a market, I think, and a model for everyone out there. But self-employed isn't for everybody either. So some people want to be employed, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I definitely think there's two markets, and there always will be. I think the self-employed market will grow clearly because of national insurance, because of minimum wage, all that kind of stuff. And because there's a lack of regional jobs coming through, so where do you get? You don't want to be in a sort of hit a glass ceiling. So you've got to have choice. But I do think there's two markets, and there always will be.
What do you think? We're getting close to the end, so I'm just conscious of the time. Like, what do you think? What are the problems that you can see coming down the road for recruitment in a state agency, whereby you look at it with all of that experience and think to yourself, people don't start doing this, then you're all a bit fucked?
I think it's a good question. The big one for me is fees, right? Fees and regulation. I think as an industry, we need to be regulated. That's the only way we're going to push up our fees, and the only way we're going to keep good talent, because we can pay them more. So for me, it's regulation. And we're probably one of the only countries in the world where we're not regulated, right? Why is that? I know we've got a really old constitution, but something needs to change. Somebody needs to get it by the balls and go, do you know what? We're going to make this licensed. And I do think we'll be able to change the perception a little bit in the industry about estate agents aren't the fourth or fifth horriblest people in the world. But also you can pay the people what they deserve. But if we don't do that, I do think it's going to be, we're scraping the barrel every time to try and find good people, and it's never going to change. And where inflation's moving, people are paying more, we're going to get left right behind, and we're going to literally have people that can't read and write and go, do you know what? Yeah, but you can answer a phone. You'll do. And that's a big issue, I think.
I agree with part of that. I think to myself, like, regulation, I reckon we'll still be down in, like, the 3 or 4 most hated industries because, lawyers are regulated and they're down there with us as well. But they get paid.
Yeah.
And that's the important bit, isn't
it? And they get paid well, right?
Yeah, because, like, there are a lot of estate agencies out there that they're probably not listening to this podcast, but, like, it's just some random bloke who's opened an office and he's got some dodgy bits of paper in the window that are slightly slanted, and we would all know if we walked past it, like, that is just a fucking joke. They would have to disappear because they wouldn't pay the money that would be required. And so by default, you'd be, people talk about the high fees in places like Australia and America and all that sort of stuff, but they charge high fees because it's regulated, because it's like a lawyer. You have to have a lawyer do this for you. And that lawyer's gone through law school and paid out all this money, and so therefore they're going to charge this. If you had to pay 20 grand to have a license, you're not going to go around and take someone's house on for 500 quid, and neither is anyone else.
No.
So,
and I think also as well, the regulation needs to come with some kind of rules, really, which is if you break them rules, you get pushed out the industry, right? Or you get not just a fine, but you can't work for a set amount of period. You get disqualified or expelled from a state agency or whatever it may be. But I do think making it, because otherwise just getting fines, people have got enough money just to pay the fines away, or the big corporates will pay the fines to their staff, but actually saying, do you know what, you can't work in the sector now for 3 months. That then makes sure that everyone abides by the rules.
Is that your next venture then, to regulate the whole
regulate industry? Not for me, Mark. I'll leave that one to you.
Nice, okay. All right. So if there's a company out there, it doesn't matter, small, large, they're thinking about recruiting, they're thinking about the new model's called
Inside Talent.
That they like the sound of that, or they're just thinking to themselves, like, actually, I just need to have a chat with Josh about how I find the right people. What's the best way for somebody to...
Best way to find me is on LinkedIn, probably. So Josh Rayner is my name on there. Come find me. Or Mark, I'm sure you'll be able to share my details. So Inside Talent or Rayner Personnel, even in websites, you'll be able to come to me. But any free advice, it's all about adding value and just helping people navigate that tricky world of talent, which can be a bit of a headache sometimes.
Yeah, awesome. Love it. Thanks for coming.
Thanks so much for having me.
Cheers,
Mark.
Thanks for listening to this Estate Agency X podcast. Can you make sure that you're actually subscribed to this podcast channel if you liked the content? It helps us massively to get better guests, and it just helps us generally. So you might think you're subscribed, but just have a double check, whatever your podcast platform of preference is, that you're actually subscribed, and then that way we can continue to grow the channel and get better and better guests for you.